Hi, today I'm going to talk about Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services and how we can leverage the benefit using UiPath. So specifically, I'm going to use the computer vision services and I'm going to use two kinds of document. One is a PDF document that I'm going to analyze and the second is an image. First image would be an image of a handwritten text, and the second image is a normal image that I've downloaded just to analyze it. So I'm not going to show how to configure a service on Azure, but I'm going to show how you can leverage its benefits using UiPath. So let me show you first the PDF document that I'm going to use for the demo. So this is a PDF document, an invoice that I'm going to use. Things that we should keep in mind while using Microsoft Azure service is that you need a label document. What does that mean? That you have to have a specific anchor to the values that you want to extract. Second, it should be in a definitive format so that you can fine tune your model later using UiPath. So I'm going to use this particular invoice as my sample invoice, and I've already uploaded it to my container on Azure, and I've already generated a shared access signature. So all that I have to do is first read this PDF document. So I'm going to use this API console to read the PDF document. So what all you need to provide, you can do this using your iPad or you can totally skip this process. The best thing that I want to show you is how to get the result in the JSON format and how to further fine tune the model. So all that you have to provide is the language of the document, the content type as header, that should be application JSON, and a subscription key. So you obtain the subscription key while you configure your computer vision service. Okay, so let's begin. So I've already uploaded the document in the Azure storage container and I've generated a shared access signature and I've pasted over here the blob URL of that generated SAS token. So as soon as I hit send, I will get a callback URL, and that one callback URL is what I'm going to use for my demo purpose. So this is the callback URL that I'm going to use. So going forward, this is a small UiPath flow that I've generated, and I'm using one HTTP request, get request to get the values. So what kind of values do you receive? You receive a JSON output and you have to deserialize your JSON output to get the invoice number, date, company name, subtotal. So I've already created this variable and I've already pasted my callback URL. So let's just hit run. So let me show you the output. So you get a JSON file or JSON text as your output, and all you have to do is to deserialize it to get further information. So let's wait for the UiPath robot to give us the information. Okay, so now I get the invoice number, I get the company name from which this has been invoiced, the client email address, and the subtotal. So that's what I was aiming for, and my service has successfully given me all the details. I have deserialized the JSON. So this is the output that I initially received. Let me clearly show you this particular output. Okay, so this is the output that you actually would receive. So what I did is I deserialized the JSON, I picked up the text and I fine-tuned my values. So what I did after deserialization, I placed all my raw data, that's the data that I haven't fine-tuned or not applied any kind of rule yet, into a data table and that I've written down for demo purpose. So let me show it to you. So I've written it down into a temp Excel. You can keep it into the data table and not write it into any Excel. And what I've done is use specific fine tuning based on the data that I get in this data table. So for example, if I already know the kind of invoices my company caters to has a specific length. So I'm going to grab the invoice based on that specific length. And I also know that when the JSON is parsed, after this particular value, after this particular label, I would get my invoice number. So if you move forward, I'll show you how I did it. So I look for that label and then I print the value. So this is how you can fine tune your model. If your PDF document has specific labels, has a specific format, so you can follow this model and fine tune your results. Now, our second thing for the current demo is how to analyze a handwritten document. So let me show you my handwritten document first. Uh, okay, so this is the image of the handwritten document that I'm currently using. And what I want is that I want UiPath robot to extract all the information and write it down into a text file. So let's do that. So for that purpose, you need to have the package Microsoft Vision package in your project, UiPath Microsoft Vision activities, and the activity that you're going to use. Okay, let me move to the respective flow. So you will need to use a Microsoft Vision scope, and under Microsoft Vision scope, you can use all other Microsoft Vision activities. So what all activities do we have? So analyze, if, when you use analyze image activity, you most probably won't need any other activity to get specific information, because this activity uh, gives you quite a lot of information, so you might not need separate activities for the purpose. All this activity can only work inside a Microsoft Vision scope. So that's why if you see, I've kept a Microsoft Vision scope and then I've kept a read handwritten text activity. In the Microsoft Vision scope, you have to provide the endpoint that you get after configuring your computer vision service and the subscription key. After doing that, you can just provide the path of the document that's concerned, that the concerned document, the part of the concerned document, and then let UiPath do the magic for you and write it down into a text file. So let me run this. Okay, so this is what I get. So let us open the image as well. So it's getting the information from this particular table.